I'm here with actor Reynaldo Piniella.
Yep.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
Good. Thank you so much for coming down here and
Oh yeah, for sure.
sitting down lower Manhattan here.
Yeah.
Like a real lower Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
If you got any lower, we'd be with the fishes,
I
right?
know, Statue of Liberty.
That's right. That'd be a nice location.
It would
the base
be.
of
I
the
mean,
Statue of
yeah,
Liberty.
it's true. Sunset.
Yeah.
Set the mood.
We'll do it on a boat going by the statue.
Oh yeah, I like
Look at
that
this.
thinking.
There we go. We just made an interview a movie.
It's true.
So let's talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to become an actor.
Oh, okay. Well, I first decided to become an actor. It was kind of accidental. I was a really bad kid in high school, and I was failing English class. And my teacher told me in order to pass, I had to participate every single day. So we were reading Julius Caesar, and I would read every day and naturally would kind of get the ideas of it. So one day, Miss Max, my teacher, pulls me aside and says, you should audition for the drama class. And I'm like, Miss Max, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Right. I think my exact phrase was, Miss Max, you bugging. Right. I'm from New York City.
Yeah.
So yeah. And she's like, well, if you take English, if you take drama, you don't have to take an English class. And I was like, what? Sign me up.
Yeah, maybe you're not bugging so much.
Exactly. Miss Max had the right idea.
That's right.
So I took drama my junior year of high school, and it changed my life. Suddenly I had a motivation. I had something that allowed me to be open, where I could bring my full self to it. It didn't matter, what crazy idea I did. No one cared. They actually wanted to hear my voice and my perspective. And as a kid who grew up in the inner city in New York, so often my experience was about pleasing someone else's idea of how I should dress, how I should walk, how I should talk. And in drama class, I got to shift that. I got to be a king. I got to, be the clown in a play. And I just felt freedom for the first time. And me being super naive, I'm like, well, I'm in drama class and I'm getting the lead.
Yeah.
Let me try auditioning.
Right.
So I started auditioning when I was 18.
Wow.
And just started building up credits from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you face any kind of resistance when you decided you wanted to do it as a full-time career, whether it be from friends? You said you grew up in the inner city.
Yeah.
Was that a concern of, I'm going to be an actor now? And they're like, get the hell out of here.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Exactly, because my parents, they have very how would you say, government jobs. My mom was working in corrections, and my dad was a fire safety director for Verizon. So these people had corporate jobs,
Right.
had steady income, and I was always, their sort of crown jewel. They're their last hope, because I'm the youngest of 5 kids.
Okay.
And when I said I wanted to become an actor, they're like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to pay the bills?
Right. They're like, we better have one more.
I know, right? As a backup plan.
Our crown jewel's a little tarnished.
He's ruining
right now.
himself.
He is ruining himself.
Yeah, and it took a while, but now they're proud of me.
Good.
My mom always makes a point of coming to all of my shows, trying to promote the things I'm doing, and that makes me feel good, because ultimately they just wanted to make sure that when they're gone, that I'll be able to take care of myself. So now I'm able to do that with acting. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was your first credit that you, when you did start booking work consecutively?
Yeah.
Or consistently, rather?
I guess the first job that made me feel like an actor was when I did Law and Order.
That's the New York
Right, it's the New York
experience.
thing. It's once you got
Gotta
that,
do that
it's
in a horror
I'm
film.
legit, I had my scene, it was me and Ice-T. It was a great episode. It was Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Heavy D. I think it was his last acting role before he passed away, actually. And it was super relevant because it was about a basketball coach who was abusing his players. And I remember that was very heavy in the news at the time.
Yes.
Was it Jerry Sandusky? I think
Jerry
it was.
Sandusky,
Yeah, right.
you're right. Yep.
And I remember being on set and we had our rehearsal and Ice-T was on the phone and he was like, hold on a fucking minute, to the director. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This dude is how would you say, taking his power.
That's right,
I'm number one on the call sheet.
Right.
And we did the rehearsal and he told me, good shit, don't change that. And I was like, oh, okay, So it was so cool to feel like I was making this guy I looked up to proud. And after that, that's when my parents really saw oh, maybe he is an actor, I was SAG eligible and, then a few more gigs, I got my SAG card and then I was really an actor,
Then you made
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Did you do a horror film too? That's the other. That's
Not
the other
yet.
actor calling you.
Not yet.
Ah.
You know, I want to. You know, I'm working on my Scream. I feel like I can do it.
You're supposed to want to be the killer. You're not supposed to want to get killed off.
I don't know. You know, I kind of want to be the guy who like lives. You know, we don't get to see people of color make it to the end of horror films.
That's very true.
Unless Jordan Peele is making it.
That's right. Change the narrative a little bit,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So you did book quite a few guest starring roles on a lot of New York-based shows.
Right.
Was your goal ever to go to LA? Were you happy with what you were doing here in New York? And I know you like to do theater as well. You've done a ton of that. And LA is not really the place
for that. Yeah, I would say LA for me has always been sort of like something like dangling itself out there, tempting me to go out there. Because I'm from New York, I feel a sense of like attachment here.
Yeah, little Eve with her apple, right?
Yeah, you know, but I do feel like it may be good for me to get out of my comfort zone one day and just try it, because I have friends who move out there and like are really successful, you know, suddenly are on a TV show as a regular. And I have other friends who like come back to New York after a few years and say like, you know, it just wasn't the place for them. So I feel like instead of having that sort of doubt and thought in my head, I need to just try it. My dream was always like a job would take me out there.
Right.
You know.
Do you feel you're better equipped to go out there now that you've been acting for a while?
You know, I would like maybe a few more like guest stars under my belt, because so many actors just show up in New York and are like, I'm an actor.
Right.
And luckily, like my representation is bi-coastal, so I wouldn't just be like, you know, starting.
You wouldn't be like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
You'd have some people behind you.
And like now I'm at the point in New York where like I'm starting to get offers, which is like the goal.
That's
like
awesome,
people
yeah.
just
Of course.
you know. So it feels a bit hard to leave that now, just when like
your momentum's really going now here in New York. You want to keep it going.
Yeah.
What's been one of the most challenging roles that you've played?
Oh wow, most challenging roles I've ever. I just did a film with Selena Leva, who is on Orange is the New Black. She's one of the Latina women. And I played this guy who is Puerto Rican and went to jail. And while he was in jail, he converted to Islam. So then he gets out of prison, and all of a sudden the people in his neighborhood are the same, but he's different. And he's trying to reconcile his previous lifestyle with his current one, and that like internal conflict. So it like made me read the Quran and like try to get inside that. What is it to live in solitude, you know, for hours of your day? And suddenly you get out and you're on house arrest, and your young sister is like growing up and wanting to like date and be sexual, but that goes against your beliefs. And it was so many things going on.
Yeah, that seems like that's a lot to take on.
You know, and it's like so complex. So I was just thankful to like to get a chance to explore that, a different religion than my own. You know, it gave me even more empathy for, you know, people who are Muslims. The Islamophobia they experience is like insane right now.
In our country, I
you would never know.
I don't know what you're talking
Exactly.
about. Even especially after this
It's
weekend.
America. It's
Yeah,
the
especially
melting
after
pot.
this weekend. Yes.
Yes.
So, what is a role that you had gone in for that you knew you were perfect for? And you knew you were very confident that you were going to book it.
Yeah.
And either you did book it or you didn't book it.
Okay.
So one of each.
A memory that comes to mind is when I went in for Broken City, which was a film that starred Mark Wahlberg and Russell Crowe. And I went in for the audition, and like I kind of just got the character. Like sometimes you get an audition and the sides, you look at them, and you like don't even need to work on them.
Right.
You're like, I can just walk in the room and like do it. So like I get the call back, and it's like in a hotel room. It's like the director Alan Hughes, the casting director, and the other two guys are for that role, right? So that's like deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's like
right.
It's awkward too.
It was super awkward. Like we were in like the Trump Soho when it was still like the Trump Soho.
Makes
right.
it
This
even more
is like
awkward.
exactly. This is like 6 years ago.
Oh, this is prior
when
to
like
the
The Apprentice was still on.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
Still on.
a part of me just like wasn't nervous. It was like
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm doing, and I got the part, and I show up on set, and you know Mark Wahlberg is there, you know, big shot, and like there's all these paparazzi around, like hiding in bushes and stuff, and I just like felt confident. Like what you see in the film is actually me improvising. Like the director just was like, you know, try it a bunch of different ways, you know.
Nice. Well, that's awesome to get.
Right, which is a compliment,
Especially,
you know.
yeah, especially when you have nerves going into a project,
Right.
based on who you're working with.
And it's like 3 a.m. We're filming in like the Lower East Side projects. You know, people are like looking out the window at me, and
Right.
they had like pigeons on set because they wanted to look very cinematic. Like we run through the pigeons and they fly away. it was so ridiculous. It's a good film, you know, but it was a learning experience for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, you were also on Greenleaf. which is a very important, popular show right now.
Yeah.
It's on the OWN network.
Right.
Did you feel any sort of pressure when you were cast on that show?
That was interesting for me because it was the first time I worked as a local hire, meaning that like I had to fly myself out and like house myself. Because I had representation in North Carolina also because I have so much family in Atlanta. So I like self-taped the audition, got the part, and it was a bad storm that happened. So my flight got canceled. So I was supposed to be in Atlanta for a 10 o'clock call time, and I didn't get in until 8 a.m. that day. Had been like sleeping in LaGuardia Airport overnight essentially, and I like get there, get a cab, show up to set, and it's like, just go. And like, what was so beautiful about it is that the cast was just so welcoming. You know, felt like I was part of the family. It was super chill.
Yeah, that's good.
Exactly.
Because you're already amped up because you didn't get in when you were supposed
right,
to.
I'm nervous.
You didn't get to sleep that well.
Yeah, I've never been to the city, and suddenly I'm like right on a set, and like I do my stuff. And the thing was, because I didn't know when I was going to wrap, I didn't buy my return flight. You know, because suddenly if I'm there till 10 p.m., you know, I miss my flight, then I'm really fucked.
Right.
So it was like I wrapped, but then I wasn't even like, that was great. Then it's like, what do I do now?
Right.
You know? So I like go in my trailer, my little, you know, honey wagon, and I like book my flight on my phone. And so it was just like a 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny that people see it now on Netflix all the time, and all of my like high school friends are like, oh my God, you're on Greenleaf.
Yeah.
They think like I've made it because I'm on Greenleaf, which is super funny.
But you have made it.
Yeah.
If they're seeing you, you're doing something.
I'm talking to you, so obviously I made it.
Well, then your career can go nowhere but up from here. Now, you also, like I mentioned earlier, have done a lot of theater.
Yeah.
Is that some place where you feel more secure? Is it more nerve-wracking for you because it's a live audience and you know it's kind of a one-take deal and not even really a take? You got to hold these people in the grasp of your hand for however long the run of the play is, and you know the performance. So what's that like for you? How do you unpack doing that where you have to be 1,000% on your game?
Yeah, I love the immediacy of it. You know, it's the thing of like, show could be going well, all of a sudden, the fire alarm goes off, which has happened to me. All of a sudden, half the audience walks out because the material is sexual and they're from a Catholic school. Like these random things happen. I've done theater outside when a police helicopter starts flying over and no one can hear you. I kind of love that sense of like, you have to be in the moment.
Yeah, that's like improv at its highest form.
Exactly. And also recently for me, the plays I've been doing have been so relevant and so necessary. Like the play I just did was about mass incarceration and like this prison industrial complex that we have where like the laws are set up to keep you in jail. They're not designed to rehabilitate you at all. They want you to get out and go back in because they profit off of you. The next thing I'm going to do next week in Cleveland is about the border crisis, what's happening right now, this very moment. Then I'm going to go to Syracuse the month after that and do a show that's all about changing the narrative around young black men. So I've been lucky in that sense to like be using my art as a sense of activism.
Right.
Because that's something like I deeply care about.
Do you worry when you tackle these roles, not that it's going to make people uncomfortable, because if you're uncomfortable, then you have a problem to begin with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you need to look in the mirror and decide some things. But do you have a little bit of an apprehension in terms of them maybe heckling or shouting something out or anything like that, or you know, getting up and screaming something?
That's kind of what I want, though.
Want them to,
you know, because I feel like the best art makes you feel something, and even if that's disgust, I hate this is stupid, I want the audience to feel implicated in some way. If we're doing a show, I was doing a show about free speech last week, developing it, right? And it takes place on a university. And it talks about how all of these right-wing, you know, provocateurs are being turned away, right? Is that a good thing? Because some people say that when you give them a platform, it like allows them to reach a new, you know, potential audience. On the flip side, when we silence their voices, we're just as bad as them in some sense, right? You know, so like that conversation I think is an important one to be having right now, going into an election year next year. And people walked out. you know? And I think that's okay, because if you feel that strongly that you need to walk out, then you have something going on inside of you that you need to figure out or dig into. So I don't know, I kind of welcome the backlash if it comes.
You spoke a lot about just now about how you're passionate about activism.
Right.
What sorts of things do you do in your everyday life and using your platform
Right.
as an actor to bring about change or bring about, give someone a voice?
Yeah.
You know, what causes are you inspired by and also a champion for?
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. I'll keep this brief.
No,
So
go for it,
recently,
go for it, whatever you gotta say.
I directed a short play in this festival. There's a company called Reynaldo Lab that David Letterman for a long time was like a real supporter of, and it teaches young people from grade I think 3 to 12 how to write. And when they asked me to direct, I said, can I direct a play by someone in need, whether that be like mental illness or, from poverty, whatever. And they gave me a writer who is currently incarcerated. She's a juvenile delinquent, and she was let out of prison to like come watch our rehearsals, and come see the play ultimately. And
Wow.
like the joy this young girl had of seeing something she made
Right.
in prison come to life with like professional actors. Like I can't describe like how fulfilled that made me feel.
And for her, obviously, it's like my work is going to affect somebody.
Yep.
I fucked up, but that it's now kind of come change in my life, and so it's a benefit probably all the way around.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the other side of things, I guess as an actor, I do a lot of work with the working theater, and the working theater is all about doing theater for people from working class backgrounds. So we go to different union halls around the city and we do these plays, around different topics: sexual harassment, how would you say, worker empowerment, how to, organize, and we engage these people in a dialogue. And the dialogue sometimes gets offensive, because some of these guys are like, no, but if she's coming on to me, then like, what am I gonna do? Like they say things, which I don't judge.
Right.
It just shows that the work we're doing is necessary in a way. And then we teach them how to act. So all of a sudden, these plays they were judging, they get to embody these people. Then all of a sudden, that teaches them empathy. And they're like, oh, I didn't think a woman would feel that way just from me, like, touching her a certain way.
Right.
I also have done some playwriting workshops at Rikers Island, teaching young people over 18 how to write, And the thing that was so crazy to me was that all of the students looked like me. They looked like they could have been my brother, my cousins. They were all, young black and brown kids that made one mistake. And they wrote these plays that were about their lives, and it was just like they wanted to be loved. Their dad wasn't around. Their friend, lied to them. Just one little thing, and their life is forever altered.
Right.
And it's just like so fulfilling to see how happy they are, because their shows aren't publicly performed. They get performed in that small little classroom.
Right.
But like it was one guy who like had to stand up in the back, and like he had sunglasses for some reason in prison, and he like put them on because he wanted to like really feel like a writer. And he talked about like, when I get out, I'm gonna try to get this produced. And like that concept of getting out is so foreign to me. Like it showed me that I take my freedom for
Right, because
granted.
you're walking out the door
Exactly.
when it's done.
Getting on that bus back to Queens, So those are just like a few of the things that I do.
If you weren't an actor, do you think, and not that this is limiting you because you are an actor.
Right.
I don't think I started that out
No.
properly. Do you think that you would have been in some sort of activism mode as a full-time career if
Right.
you had not found acting, which is now letting you use your platform as your voice?
My first dream was to become president, right? Which is a lot of young kids' dream, to become president of the United States.
Can we expedite that dream?
I
please?
know, like, what's up, bro? Can you be ready by 2020?
We could have another Democrat
I
candidate.
know, right? Why not? But last year, I was in the first ever class of the Artist Campaign School, which is a new school, totally free, that trains artists to run for political office. Because they talked about, we have this huge wealth of art in America, and if we can mobilize those people who have the skills to create, to connect, to communicate, how to get into government,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a huge catalyst for change, not only on the national level, but the local level.
Right.
You know,
Oh, and I can just hear the people who love to say actors just need to shut up and do their job.
exactly.
That's my favorite thing.
Exactly.
To hear.
Even though they
Because
like,
their opinion is less valuable than anybody else.
but
They're
they
not
love
humans.
Ronald Reagan. They love him.
Yeah, well,
right. You know.
But it's like you're less valuable because you're an actor giving your opinion.
Exactly.
Why are you less valuable than a garbage man
Right.
giving their opinion? Like, what difference does it make?
Sure. I'm in two unions.
Yeah.
You know, I pay my taxes. I serve on a community board. Like I'm trying to do all of those things to be a like contributing citizen, not only in my community but in the country. So I feel like people like me are needed in government. And like that experience was just so enlightening about just like the nitty gritty of politics, the things we don't think about, how they like harness our data to figure out how likely we are to vote for a certain person. So I hope to like use that knowledge to hopefully one day run for office myself. And the
You're
last,
definitely poised and mature enough for that.
Thank you.
Obviously, I don't know your exact age, which we don't need to
Yeah,
reveal on
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
But like, you are young enough, but also seem very polished
Thank
and
you.
very, you know.
yeah, and
Smart.
thank you. And the last election cycle, the midterm elections, I went out to Jersey and I like did some like groundwork for Mickey Sherrill, who flipped a House seat from Republican to Democrat in New Jersey.
Right.
You know, and we took back the House. So like that was a small way I tried to help the process. And I hope in 2020 I can go down to one of those swing states, you know, Ohio or Michigan or wherever, and you know, try to get people to the polls, do something where I can contribute instead of just complaining.
Right.
Because I feel like we as artists can do that so much. Go on Facebook and rant versus like, you know, how can I
Everyone's
actually
guilty of that, yeah.
exactly, how can I make change myself?
Do you feel that people will stereotype you based on your nationality or expect you
Right.
because of your nationality to side with one candidate or another? Like, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm on Mayor
Right.
Pete's side. Just because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you're a minority doesn't mean that you would be for Kamala or for whatever, or an older man for Joe Biden.
Right.
Like that kind of thing. Do you feel like you're gonna have an uphill climb? Like, what do you know what you're talking about? You know, you should stick with whoever your quote unquote representative
Right.
is.
Something that was a wake up call for me when I was out in Jersey was that so often I would knock on the doors of Latino people and they would say, is she a Republican or Democrat? And I would say Democrat, and they would slam the door in my face. Because for me, as a Latino, I feel like the people who have our best interests in mind are Democrat. Whoa, that's not the slip I want to have. Are Democrats, get that on camera.
It's on there.
Yes, are Democrats, right? And for whatever reason, be it religion or where they're from, they just side with, you know, the red people, the Republicans. And like, it makes me sad. But I get it. You know, you shouldn't judge a book by a cover. And then I would come across an older white man and he would be so pro-Democrat.
Right. That's
You know?
the thing. It's funny in this day and age, and we're going way off on a tangent.
No,
but
no, no, no.
In this day and age, I find myself as a commuter going between New York and New Jersey,
Right.
based on someone's behavior, based on their appearance, based on how they're acting.
Right.
Oh, they must be a Trump voter, or they're not a Trump voter. They wouldn't be acting like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I've never thought like that before until
Right.
this all had come down, and the behavior of people has changed so much. And I'm on both sides. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that the people who are against Trump are any better than the pro-Trump people. I mean, we're better in the fact that I feel like we're on the right side.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, in their defense, they think they're being 100% right, and so are we. So like,
Right.
but there's no common ground because I don't feel like they're willing to change so much.
I totally
I just
agree.
feel like they believe one thing where we take all of our news sources.
Yes,
and-
we want to listen. We want to.
Right, and I don't feel like there's any of that. It's just we're making fun of him or we're disparaging him. It's
Yes.
like, but so is he. That's all he does. So it's
Exactly.
just like, and the whole religious you know, like I can only imagine what God is up there thinking right now. He should just wipe this entire earth out right now and start over.
He's trying with the climate change. You
Yeah,
know,
he's
it may
like,
happen sooner than we
Climate
expect.
change, that
Oh,
doesn't
then-
exist.
Yeah. And you know, the media wants to make us monoliths. They want to say, you know, the black vote goes this way, the Latino vote goes this way, the gay vote goes this way, and like there are so many different subsets of that. Like I actually wrote a play because my mom was one of the few black women that voted for Trump. You know, and I wanted to dig into that. Like, what is that psychology?
Was that uncomfortable for you, being that you were writing a show about your own mom, and was it uncomfortable for her that you were unpacking her personal life.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable, and I also feel like the best art is uncomfortable because you're digging into that ugly stuff inside of all of us. Because the play ultimately is about like generational trauma and like the things we inherit, and what she has inherited is a sense of like self-hatred. Like my mom says some of the most racist things I've ever heard anyone say, you know, and that's something that I'm not proud of, that I'm actually ashamed by. And I also wanted to look at this woman who I love, who has raised all of these kids to be, you know, self-sustaining adults, and also is a bigot, you know?
That's one of my biggest pet peeves as well, is gay people calling other gay people faggots, or black people calling each other the N-word. And I get it, you earn the right to say it because you're taking back power of the word, but it's not, like, to me, I'm not a fan of that word, and I don't like when other people use it. I just feel like you're keeping it out there on other people's tongues by you saying it makes it look like it's okay to say.
Absolutely.
So I wish the derogatory terms would stop all around.
I know, but like with the internet now, you know,
it just gets worse. It never gets better.
Indeed. So, you know, I'm trying my best to like change the narrative, to put different kinds of work out there to like engage people in a dialogue. Because ultimately, if I'm doing a play about free speech, I also want conservative people to come.
Absolutely.
You know, and so often, we do these plays or these films, and like we're preaching to the choir. And
just don't come with your walls up. Come being open to not feeling like you're going to be preached at either. Go in with an open mind.
You know,
and if you don't like it, have a talk back. Stay after.
Say,
look, you know, I'm 100% against what you said, and this is why. Not like flip out in the middle. Oh, you're fucking stupid, and then throw a tantrum and walk out.
It's like, you know, like Mike Pence, like when he came to Hamilton, I'm like, they, after the show, told him like, dude, we're scared about this presidency and what's going to happen, right? And he like stayed and listened. He didn't get to engage them in a dialogue. And that's what I'm hoping to do one day, ultimately, is like have those people come to a show, have them maybe hate it, maybe enjoy it, and just start a dialogue. You know, there's a show happening right now called Fairview that won the Pulitzer Prize last year. And ultimately, the final moment, spoiler alert, is that they asked the white people in the audience to come on stage, you know, to create space. And they look out and see the few people of color, and they say, like, what is possible if you can just make space for, like, another person of color? You know, not give up your space, but just, you know, make some room. And it's fascinating when not all the white people stand up, you know? And I think that moment has been highly divisive for a lot of people, but I kind of enjoy it. You know, because it's starting a dialogue. And you can hate it, you can love it, but at least we're
at least
talking.
You're communicating. And not putting up a wall on, oh, I love Trump and you guys all suck, or we hate Trump and you guys all suck. It's or anything. It doesn't even have to be about politics. Could be like interracial dating or gay marriage equality and all that kind of thing. So now that we've completely dovetailed into like This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
No, it's cool.
Do I gotta copyright that or anything? Sorry, George.
Just beep it out.
We're big fans of the program.
Yes.
What are you working on now? I know you got a couple of exciting things going on.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let me try to like go through my mental Rolodex. So this upcoming Friday, I don't know when this is going to release, but I'm working on a script for Audible because they're getting into plays now. So I'm going to voice a part in one of those plays coming out. The next week, I'm going out to Cleveland to work on that play about the border crisis. Then the week after that, I head up to Syracuse to work on Thoughts of a Colored Man, which is all about the black male experience in America. Then we take that show to Baltimore right after, you know, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Right, two totally different audiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm also I have a fellowship to develop a bilingual Hamlet with the Classical Theater of Harlem, because for me, I feel like the Latinx experience, at least on stage, has been very one-sided. It's very much about our experience with oppression, with, you know, immigration. And I'm like, no, we can be kings, we can be royalty, we can do the classics. So I wanted to work with Classical Theater of Harlem because their shows are free. It's for the community. So I want to have those people from East Harlem come and see themselves reflected on stage. So that is being developed right now, and I hope to have that happen in the summertime.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be really cool. In the summertime, it is summertime.
Man, next summer.
Oh, next summer.
Yeah. You're like, really, bro, you got a month to like make this happen.
We better wrap this up so you can go get some work.
Go learn those lines.
You're gonna do anything for fun? Got any vacations coming up?
Ooh, okay. So part of my fellowship is I get to travel. So I'm going to Cuba, I think, in December. My dad's family is from there. So it's going to be like half vacation, half like self-discovery. I don't know any of my family, so I'm hoping to like try to find some folks there and, you know, just explore this country that we haven't had the best relationship with because of stupid politics for a long time.
It's like everything's politics, right?
It is.
Am I correct in assuming, just based on our conversation, that your mother is African American and your father is Hispanic?
Yes.
Have you ever had to deal with opposing points of view based on both of their upbringings?
Oh wow. My dad is a Latino guy who changed his name from Jorge to George because he knew he could pass for white. Like he actually kind of looks like you. And like that self-awareness to me was so present in my life, where my mom and him would say all of these really hateful things about brown people. And it put me in a weird place because I never knew how to feel about myself. And now I'm in an industry where so often I have to choose a side, where some folks don't think I'm Latino enough or black enough, or, you know, I'm in a room and they're like, where are you from? What are you? You know, like that what are you question bugs me. You know?
One day it won't be about that. One day it'll be, you're the most talented actor for the role. Well, it's the same kind of bullshit they're pulling with Ariel being African American,
right?
Like
and
having a nervous breakdown. Like, this is what you're having a nervous breakdown about?
And 007 now too. You know, it's going to be a black woman, which I think is amazing.
It's called acting.
Yes.
It's not. It's just the things that people get irritated about around the arts. Go put your energy into somewhere of use.
I agree.
Yes, is it out of your comfort zone because Ariel has been a redhead to you?
Right.
So what? Like,
watch the original.
Right.
Yeah.
You believe people if they wear a fat suit, like some of the people. This Is Us. That guy isn't really that obese.
No.
Do you have a problem with him being not obese, or do you have? You know what I mean? It's just like people put too much emphasis on this person's supposed to be white, this person's supposed to have red hair, this person's supposed to be black. Like, who says? Right. I mean, obviously, it's a huge part of the story, and it like if you're talking about the Temptations, obviously, it's a different story.
Yes,
you're talking about a real person, but Ariel is a
No.
mermaid. She's a mermaid.
Right.
So who's to say she
You know, they didn't cast a mermaid. I'm offended.
Yeah. It's just the things that you see come out of people's mouths every day is just like, wow. And that's why you need the arts. Just,
I agree.
A, to take your mind off of it, but B, you can use your platform, even though we all think actors should just shut up and not have an opinion on anything, but you could use your platform for the people who are smart enough to listen and open enough to listen.
Right.
You know, it's just, there seems like there's a lot of blowback and negativity towards people who are in the arts for voicing their opinion. And for someone who's young like yourself and involved in these inner city not productions, but like working with people who are disenfranchised and in jail and doing all these things, like you're really lending a voice and changing someone's life on the real life quote unquote aspect, and then you could be changing someone's life by being on screen playing a character.
Yeah.
So you're changing people in both ways, and I think we need more people like that.
Thank you, because you know, for me, ultimately, my happiness comes from being of service. You know, it's amazing when I get a movie role or a TV role. But like I do that, I get paid, and then I want the next thing. But when I can like touch someone, that satisfaction can like last a lifetime. Because like one night I was in New York, it was like 3 a.m, I'm like drunk coming home from the bar, and this kid stops me on the street and he says, "Hey, I saw you in a play in Kentucky where I was from, and it made me want to come to New York and be an actor."
Wow.
You know, and I was like, whoa. I was in no position to have a conversation with him at all, but like the fact that I did this play in Kentucky, this young kid of color saw it, and then moved to New York to pursue a dream, I was like,
crazy.
Yeah.
Have you, I mean, you obviously haven't run into this person.
We're Facebook friends now.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
So stuff like that.
So I mean, that's a huge thing.
Right.
That's like one of those things where you're doing something positive, and the big catch line is always, oh, if I change one person's life, well, yeah, but it's true. You did change one person's life. Exactly. And how random to run into them like that.
Yeah. So
crazy.
I want more moments like that. So hopefully, it happens.
Well, hopefully people will see exactly what you're worth. Cool. And then really embrace what you have to say. Yes. Because you're a talented young man with a lot to say, and I appreciate you taking time to meet up with me.
Oh yeah.
It's been really fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.